We are live on ABC's KMET 1490am.com. Your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome to the program acclaimed guitarist, contemporary blues artist, and music Hall of Famer. I welcome in the great Bobby Messano. Bobby, Brian C., honor to have you.
Brian, hey man, how are you? What's going on?
Oh man, it's a pleasure to have you. Read about your career, really an honor for me.
Reading about my career is confusion to me, but that's okay.
Well, first, Bobby, I want to congratulate you on your most current release titled Music and Other Sundries. And it's pretty fascinating to know, after so many decades, Bobby, being in the music industry, this is your very first vinyl, right?
Yes, I have not done a vinyl until this one. And it's actually, we did a limited run of 180 gram, which is the second highest you can get. And it was mastered by Billy Stoll, who did Stevie Ray Vaughan and a whole bunch of people. It's really cool. Cover's great. You know, I'm really proud of it.
Now, is it a fact, Bobby, that this work of yours has made the first round in 3 Grammy Award categories?
Yeah, it has. But they announced the top 5 the other day, and unfortunately, I didn't get into the top 5, but I can't feel bad because neither did Eric Clapton. So it's not such a bad thing.
No, I mean, just being, just being in that bracket, because, I read something that it was in 3 categories: Best American Roots Song, Best Rock Album, and Producer of the Year it was going for.
Yep. I mean, usually we submit for Best Blues Album, but this is just a record. I mean, it's a record like I would have made in the 70s. So I just wrote what I wanted to write and didn't categorize anything and didn't say we're going to go for this or go for that or whatever else. We just made the record, and it felt really good to do something like that because, when you pigeonhole yourself, and I'm not I'm a contemporary blues artist, so that is everything from Jimi Hendrix to whatever, so it's blues rock, but to be able to just go and do what I felt like doing was just liberating. It was to the point where I just wanted to make that. So it's cool. It's really cool. It's a great record. So proud of it.
Well, we have a little excerpt. I want to see if I can play some of it now so the audience can hear.
Sure.
Let's hear Bobby Messano.
All right.
What the captain said. Run silent, run deep. Soon we'll all be dead. Let's those ballasts trim that nose up. We're heading towards the shore. Once we reach it, dock this ship, they won't be able to get us anymore. No, she
mean, there's a small sample. You just heard Music and Other
Nice
Sundries,
collage.
Bobby Messano.
Nice collage.
Yeah, nice mix. It was put together by Sean, the engineer. Nice job,
Oh,
Sean.
cool.
Yeah, so there you have it. Bobby, where can the audience pick up this new release?
Let's see. They can go to my website, which is bobbymessano.com. They can go to Autumn Records, AUTUMN Records.com. We did a limited run, so we don't have it on, actually on any, like not at Walmart or anything. But if they don't want vinyl, you can go to iTunes and get the whole album on iTunes and on on iTunes and Amazon.com, and I think Rhapsody. So it's pretty much available at every every web outlet for streaming. And if they want it as an actual vinyl, they can go to those two websites and pick it up. It's really cool.
Very,
it's just,
very cool.
Yeah, it's just a great record. So.
And,
by the way,
how was it working with Jeff Wilborn?
Well, Jeff and I have worked on. We've done 5 albums together. We had a #1 on Billboard in 2015, and he's my guy. I have a couple of producers I work with, but Jeff has done, I think, 6 of my last 7. Or I did Bad Movie. I produced Bad Movie myself, which I do because I'm a producer. So, but it's always nice to have a. It's always. By the way, I have to tell you, you're going to be jealous of this. I'm getting on a pontoon boat in Southwest Florida, and it's 80 degrees out.
Oh my God!
and I'm
Do you miss the East Coast, Bobby? Do you miss the East Coast? Do you miss Jersey?
Well, I don't miss being up there, and and I'm with a bunch of beautiful girls, and my friend Scully. You ready to roll? Okay. So I figured I'd make I'd make everybody feel bad.
Oh man, I'm crying. I'm really crying.
Yeah, I know, but working with Jeff, I always love working with Jeff. Jeff kills it. So he reads my mind. We've always produced stuff great together, and and it's a good thing. If you want to roll, we can roll. Are you sure? Yeah. This doesn't make much noise, right? Yeah, I'm on. So okay, I'm back.
So Bobby, you've been now in the business, I would say, over 50 years.
No, actually 46. Let's not get that. Let's not get it that far, please.
Well, I wanted to say, do you miss the 70s?
Oh my God. Yeah, I miss the 70s and the 80s. That's what I was saying. Like doing this record was like being in the 70s again. It was like it just was like, hey, let's go make a record and have fun with it. So and a lot of times, especially being sort of pigeonholed in the contemporary blues place. It's like, you can't always do stuff like that. And this was just, I don't want to say it was a no holds barred record, but it was just to be able to, I could do I'm a big reggae fan, and I go to Jamaica and headline a what do you call it, a festival every year there. But, yeah, I do miss it. I miss it. I miss playing arenas. Can you hear me okay? Are you okay there?
No, I can hear you perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah. I miss doing arenas. I miss the 80s too, being able to do that. And, because it's a big difference now. The business is completely different, so, but, it's nothing you can do about it. Hi, guys. I didn't even say hi. Say hi to the radio.
Bobby,
Hold on. Say hi.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone. You're live on KMET Radio, Southern California.
We're live on KMET Radio in Southern California. Anyway, it's all yours,
Bobby,
Captain.
So now, just reading, it's hard to fit your entire career in 25 minutes here. But you began professionally opening up for Kansas, right? at a time where
Yep.
Kansas was the #1 band. Talk about
Yep.
that experience as a young Bobby Messano.
Well, I went from like working in the post office to like either joining. I had choices. I was looking at joining, and this wasn't that I was going to get them, but I could either go with Rick Derringer, I could go with Billy Joel, and Henry Gross, who at the time had Shannon out, and it was a big hit, you know. And Billy, it was sort of up in the air, but I had to make a move to going to being, you know, a pro, and you know, like getting into the game. And then there was this other band, Stanky Brown, that you know they were on ABC. Actually, they were on Sire, which at the time was just before they were getting like really hot with Talking Heads and Madonna and everybody. And you know, I went and played with them, and Stanky Brown was managed by a guy named John Scher, who was a big promoter. You know, you're from Connecticut, but I mean, big promoter in the Northeast. He had the Capitol Theater in Passaic. He managed the Grateful Dead. He managed the Allman Brothers, and did all these major shows. So, you know, the choice was, you know, check them out, and I ended up getting the gig in about a half a second, and literally went from working in the post office to being in a van with a guy named Bert Holman, who ended up managing the Allman Brothers for 20 years and opening for Kansas when Carry On Wayward Son was #1. And first show was in Pennsylvania at Bucknell University, and the second show was in Hartford. So, you know, they were all sold out, and we did like a week or 2 weeks with Kansas. It was like unbelievable to go from, you know, pitching mail and playing in clubs, you know, to listening to these guys doing, you know, Carry On Wayward Son. So it was amazing. It was amazing. You know, it's just something that you dream about, you know.
Yeah, and I have to mention also you were with the band Starz, a band that's considered by writers as one of the 4 most influential bands. How did you get involved with Starz?
Well, I mean, I was friends with Richie Rano. I mean, we had been friends for a long time. And Brendan Harkin, the guitar player, because Starz was part of Looking Glass. Starz was actually Looking Glass, and then they turned into another. They turned into Fallen Angel, and then they turned into Starz. And Richie said, "Do I know any bass players?" I said, "Well, yeah, I know a couple." So I got a bass player friend of mine, and we went to Pink Floyd's rehearsal studio in Queens, New York, and rehearsed. And he said, "Well, bring your guitar and play with us." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I'm in Stanky Brown, you know. And I went and played, and it was fantastic. And Richie called me up later in the day when I got back to my house and said, he said, "Look, I think you should join the band." And I went, "Well, I can't join the band. I'm under contract." And he said, "Well, if you don't, we're going to come to your house and kill your dog." And
Oh, really?
No, he didn't. No, it was like, I said, "Well, it's really good." And then we ended up, he said, "Well, come to the auditions tomorrow. We've got another guy coming in from Hydra in Atlanta. He's really good." And I went in and, rehearsed with him, and it was really magical. It was really cool. I loved those guys. They had just been on Don Kirshner's rock concert. They were managed by Kiss's management. And, I ended up joining. I did Coliseum Rock with them, and I wrote some stuff on it. And I still have a lot of Starz fans that come out and, I know writers, Motley Crue were huge Starz fans. Poison. Metallica said that without Starz, especially that last album, there would be no Metallica. And, Bon Jovi.
No question. Bon Jovi, Poison, right?
Yeah, Poison. I mean, Bon Jovi, I grew up with actually, John was younger than me. But, Tico was my partner, and it was really cool. And it just turned into what it was. And unfortunately, they gave it up earlier than they should have. So that was, it was a great band, so.
And at that time, Bobby, you guys were opening up for Rush, Ted Nugent, Styx, and so many others. That feeling must have been, the adrenaline must have been going high for you at that time.
If you want to roll, you can roll. What was that? Oh, we're going to lose reception, right? Yeah, they're staying by the shoreline. Well, yeah, but I had already been doing arenas, and I did Giant Stadium with Stanky Brown and Steve Miller, Beach Boys. I had been doing it, but yeah, you're right. Every walking on stage, the only way I could say it is if you've ever watched the movie Almost Famous, there's a scene right in the beginning where they walk up the stairs to the stage, and there's these metal stairs, and the roadie's got a flashlight on it, and they get to the top of the stairs, and the lights go out. That is exactly what it's like. It's amazing to actually do that, and do it every night, playing for 20,000 people. It's crazy, So
Yeah, and I have like 6 minutes left, but I want to get a couple more in. And another remarkable, what's also remarkable is that you grew up wanting to be an Eric Clapton, right? And you got the chance and the blessed opportunity to write for Clapton. How something like that happened?
Yes. Yeah, it was. I was with Winwood, and when I was with Steve Winwood, I met Eric, when they did Hammersmith Odeon, and which was a thrill to just meet Eric. But of course, I'm playing with Steve Winwood, So over the years, I have, when I switched over to contemporary blues, I was on Ichiban, which was with I think they were with the MI. I can't remember. But, I had been writing songs I've been writing songs, and I was doing a radio show, and the first thing that happened, one of the songs that was on it was that I was writing was a song called Sea of Hope. And a radio guy said, God, that sounds like a Clapton song. And I went, oh, okay. And I called a friend of mine at Disney Publishing, and I said, are you doing this Clapton album he's doing, which was Pilgrim in 98? And they said, yeah. And they said, okay, can I get this to you? And I overnighted it in L.A., and then they called Eric, and Eric said, yeah, Bobby's got a song. Let's get it to me. He demoed it. From what I understand, he demoed it. No, I know he did because he told me he did. And that was the beginning of the writing thing. And then in 2005, my friend Tony Colton, who wrote No Angel, and who passed away a couple of years ago, called me up and said, we got to write a song for Eric. Got to have it done by Friday. Jamie Oldacre's flying it over to London, and we got to get it to him. And we wrote it really quick. But, it's been pretty cool to be able to get stuff to him. And, and he liked it, and he uses good writers. So, didn't put him on the records. That's okay. I had him on my records, and they were good. So they're still great songs.
That's remarkable to have on your resume. Eric Clapton. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, all the stuff on my resume freaks me out.
Oh, forget it. And the next question I want to ask you: music director for Stevie Winwood. How did that come about?
I was in Frankie and the Knockouts. I don't know if you remember those guys. They had that song "Sweetheart" that was a hit, and Frankie Kravitz ended up writing "Time of Our Lives" and "Hungry Eyes" for Dirty Dancing. But I got a call, and I'll truncate it as quickly as possible. My mother called me up and said, "Hey, do you know a guy named Steve Winwood?" And I went, "What?" I said, "Like Woodward and Bernstein, the Watergate guy." And she goes, I said, "Winwood?" She goes, "Yeah, that's it, Steve Winwood." And I went, okay, yeah, I do." She goes, "Well, he wants you to call him." I'm like, "Okay." And she gave me a phone number and it had no area code. I called L.A., I'm calling New York, I'm calling New Jersey, and I finally got the Mayflower Hotel or someplace in Manhattan and got this room, and it was this woman, Suzanne, who was his assistant. And I said, "Hi, my mother said that Steve Winwood wants to talk to me." And she went, "Oh, yeah, who are you?" And I went, "Oh, Bobby Messano." She goes, "Oh, yeah, Nile Rodgers and Ralph Schuckett put your name on the list. He needs a guitar player. Do you know who he is?" And I went, "Yeah." So, it fell apart because he got somebody else. But then they came back about 3 weeks later, and I was going to Daytona to do a show with Frankie and the Knockouts. I was in spring break, and they called me up and they go, "You have to come in and see Steve. He doesn't like the guitar player." And I went, "Oh, all right." So I went into Manhattan. It was just me and Steve drinking tea. And we played a bunch of records, and then he and I went into a room. It was Bette Midler's apartment. And we went into the room and just played for an hour, and we're soaked in sweat. And he looked at me and went, well, we should do this again. And I went, okay. And that was it.
Wow.
Never heard a thing. I never heard a thing for like a month and a half. And I was at a show, and my sound man looks at me and goes, hey, you going to play with Steve Winwood? And I went, I found out last night. How do you know? He goes, Lynn Goldsmith told me, the famous photographer.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I didn't know, but you know. He goes, everybody knows. So I ended up, playing with Steve, and it was just amazing. So, I'm still, he's my idol. So,
Wow. Yeah,
but,
and I want to remind everyone as well that you were also on that hit song "Into the Night," Benny Mardone's.
She's just 16 years old. Yep.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
a great song.
Yeah, 12th most played record in history.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So I want to ask you, how does one transform their music style from classic rock, pop rock to contemporary blues? How are you able to do that? Does it come naturally to you?
Yeah, I just write, especially now. In the beginning, I wrote, then I went, started writing blues, contemporary blues, because I wanted it to be something that I had done when I was younger, and it would feel better. And then now I'm just back to just writing. And, I'm doing more TV placement. I'm doing more movie placement. I'm doing a lot more producing. I'm producing 3 acts now, as a matter of fact. So, you just make a transition at some point. I never wanted to be pigeonholed in anything, because I was a hard rock guitar player, I was an AOR guitar player, I was a, whatever it was, So I just always put it as guitar player, artist, singer, writer. You just do it, So, yeah.
So what do you have in the pipeline? Now, are you touring? You have tours coming up?
I just got done with Belgium. I was in Belgium and got back about 6 weeks ago. I've been doing some opening acts. I did an acoustic opener for America in Chicago, which was great. It was just me alone and standing ovation. Next week, on the end of the week, on the weekend, I go to Nashville, where I lived for a long time, and I'm producing this young artist. He's 17 years old. He's a guitar player, singer, songwriter, sort of like a cross between, he's like a bluesy John Mayer, like a bluesy pop John Mayer, and he plays really great and writes great songs. So that's next week. And I'm finishing up a psychedelic album that I did with this artist in Colorado. I lived in Colorado for 5 years. So, producing and doing some shows. And also, yes, this is a really cool thing. I'm doing a Cream tribute with Ginger Baker's son, Kofi.
Oh, wow. When is that? Bobby?
It's called Pure Cream, and it's fantastic. We've done a couple of shows. We have a show the end of December in Chicago, and then we're going to start putting a couple of runs together in March and April. And then we're going to be doing some more Northeast. We're looking at California. We're doing Midwest. We're doing Minneapolis and Iowa and probably Kansas and a couple of places. But it's really cool. I grew up playing Cream. That's all I did in high school. And this is like closing my eyes and being at the Fillmore and tripping. It's like, we ended with a 15-minute version of Spoonful the last show, and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So it's really, really, really cool. I'm very excited about it. So.
And something else, Bobby, it must be such a great feeling to be inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame, huh?
Yeah, it was very cool. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would be cool, but Blues Hall of Fame was excellent. So I'm really happy about it.
Well, listen, I really appreciate a few minutes, and, stay safe, enjoy the sun. We'll keep in touch. Okay,
thanks, Captain. I appreciate it, brother.
My pleasure. The website is bobbymessano.com. bobbymessano.com, his current release, music, and other sundries. Check it out. Until next week, happy collecting to all.